Okay, Alexander, let's talk about some urgent news, maybe breaking news, I guess. But it looks like we might have a regime change in the UK. I don't know what's going on in the UK with Johnson. Seriously, what's up?
Yeah, well, first of all, can I just apologise for the lighting? I'm travelling, as I've discussed on other programmes. Hopefully, it will get better before long. But we do indeed have breaking news. As of this morning, it's been confirmed that 54 Conservative MPs have written votes of have asked for a vote of no confidence in Johnson. According to the parliamentary rules of the Conservative Party, that means that there will be a vote to decide whether or not Johnson has the confidence of the Conservative Party. That vote will take place later today, in the evening today. So, we're breaking this news as it comes, basically, and we will have a decision fairly soon. And of course, the assessment that most of the media is making is that he will win the vote. He will get a majority of MPs to support him. But the reality is, he will be so politically damaged that my own personal view is that he's not going to survive as Prime Minister for very much longer. Why has this happened? Straightforwardly, he has thrown away the massive political mandate he got when he won the Brexit war in 2019 and won the election in 2019. He's made one mistake after another. Britain is in a deep economic crisis. He's been led a scandal-ridden government, and I think that Conservative MPs, even if they have no clear idea whom to put in his place, have had enough. And I think enough of them have decided that whatever the outcome of this election today, they do not want Johnson to lead them into the next election and to remain their Prime Minister.
Yeah, but the Conservative MPs, they, for the most part, they support the sanctions on Russia. I mean,
Yeah,
what do they expect is going to
yeah.
change if you swap Johnson out and you put another prime minister who's going to continue the sanctions war? What are they expecting to change with regards to the economy in the UK?
You've put your finger right on the problem, because what they're doing is they're blaming the man. And to be straightforward about this, I have no time for the man. I would not be at all sorry. I'd be in fact pleased to see him go. But they're blaming the man rather than the policies that are causing the problems that have led them to lose confidence in the man. They have no real idea how to turn this round. And none of the people that we hear being talked about, Rishi Sunak, Liz Truss, Ben Wallace, Jeremy Hunt, are going to turn things round. And there was a very interesting moment a few days ago. And I should say that here in Britain, we are currently celebrating the Queen's Jubilee, which is the 70th anniversary of her accession to the monarchy. And there was a big ceremony at St Paul's Cathedral in London, and Johnson came and was booed. And remember, the kind of people who attend these things are staunch monarchists and staunch Brexiters. The two almost go together in Britain. So, they booed Johnson. But when the leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, who also supports all the same policies came, they didn't cheer him. They remained stolidly silent. So the entire political class in Britain, or so it seems to me, so it seems to many people, is bankrupt of ideas. So they're dumping Johnson. They're rearranging the decks, if you like, on the Titanic, but they've no plan to turn the ship away from the iceberg that is looming on the horizon. On the contrary, they're still going ahead, full steam ahead. And until and unless we get a captain who's able to change direction and do it fast, I mean, I can't really see what solutions, how this solves dumping Johnson, how it solves any of the problems.
Who would they dump Johnson for?
Well, this is it. I mean, we just don't even know. I don't think they know themselves. I think the mood at the moment is anybody but Johnson. So we could end up very easily, it seems to me, with someone like Liz Truss, which, to be quite clear, isn't going to make the problems better. I think it's going to make them worse. Because, of course, the only thing that she has going for her is that she supports the sanctions war. So it's that's the person that the conservative the Conservative people outside Parliament who would probably vote for. The Conservative Parliamentary Party seems to want somebody called Jeremy Hunt, who is a pro-Remain, sort of soft, rather more liberal Tory than Johnson, or at least that was his image. Problem is, he hasn't got any ideas about how to change or turn things around either. So, so we're in a trap, entirely in a trap of our own making. And by the way, I mean, your point about sanctions is a good one, because if you read the mainstream media here, they talk about an economic crisis. They never link it to the sanctions war. And it's the same elsewhere. We've now see a governmental crisis in Estonia. The Estonian government has just collapsed. You read the commentaries about this. Everybody's talking about, the arguments within the Estonian coalition. Nobody mentions that Estonia has 22% inflation. 22% inflation. In other words, that living standards in Estonia are collapsing. You would think from reading the British media that the fact that the Estonian government has collapsed and that the Estonian government is in crisis are two completely unconnected events. In fact, of course, British people don't even know about the fact that there's a 22% inflation crisis in Estonia. So talk about anything, don't talk about sanctions. And once you stick with that line, so long as you stick with that line, you're never going to solve your problems. They're just going to go on, continue to get worse.
Yeah, well, they think the people are stupid, and they think that people aren't going to make the connection between these idiotic sanctions and the fact that European economies are imploding. But
No,
can the UK economy be saved? Well, what's the state of the UK economy at this point? I mean, it just seems
it's
like it's going
extreme.
from bad to worse.
It is going from bad to worse. I mean, it's in a very, very bad state. We have a massive, we have an inflation problem. We have a collapse in productivity. There is a widespread sense that money emission has been out of control for far too long. There's talk about our currency, the pound sterling, becoming more like an emerging economy currency than that of a developed economy. That was said by Bank of America. There is a very widespread sense of economic malaise. And to be very clear, these problems are not just sanctions related. I mean, they've been building up for a very, very long time. We have a big economy. We have many points of excellence. We have entrepreneurial energy here. We could do lots of things. The problem is that no government seems to know how to harness them, how to use those assets that Britain has and to use them effectively. No government has a plan. I mean, part of Johnson's appeal was that people thought that, with Brexit, he would do all kinds of things, dramatic things that would drive the economy forward. And, I personally think that the potential to drive the economy forward existed. The problem is it became very obvious that he had no such plans, no real ideas, that he was carrying on in every other respect exactly like before. And the same is true of every other potential prime minister, both Conservative and Labour, because the kind of radical changes to society, not society so much, but to the way that the economy is operated, that would be needed to increase growth rates, to stabilise inflation, to do all sorts of things, would cut against ideological issues. And, hostility to Russia is in Britain a matter of ideology, state ideology today, and it's only one of these things. But it would also hurt the political and economic interests of certain very powerful groups within British society. So I'm afraid, in the absence of a dynamic reforming prime minister who would probably find that they actually did have a lot of support in the country, but in the absence of such a dynamic reforming prime minister and government, what we have is drift. And it's the same in the United States. It's the same in the European Union. We have always a situation where people come in, they talk a talk of change. Change doesn't happen. We end up in default with the same policies as we had before, and the situation gets worse, and the situation's deterioration the worsening of the situation is accelerating. But you have a political class which is out of ideas, and the only idea they have is to dump the captain of the ship, who has actually and in truth visibly failed.
Yeah. They thought they were going to damage Russia and cause regime change in Russia, but didn't work out as they planned.
No, exactly. It didn't work out as the plan. They didn't think about it. They didn't work it out at all. They didn't know their enemy, and they didn't really plan about themselves. They didn't think it through. You've seen one or two little articles. There was an article in The Guardian by its economics editor, Larry Elliott, who pointed out that there has to be a deal because, as you put it, Putin is winning the economic war. But this is not the mainstream view, and it's certainly not the dominant view within the political class. A leader, a politician who comes out and says that, we've got to end the economic war, reverse the sanctions, is immediately going to be marginalized by the political class, and that's the problem.
Then there's no fixing this thing.
No, there's no fixing this thing. No.
So be it. The Duran.locals.com, everybody. The Duran shop. Use the code GOODDAY. Get 10% off all merch. Take care.